Hi everyone. In this video, we'll see something called strings. Without wasting time, let's get started immediately. Let me open my Python's Jupyter notebook here. Start right away. So strings can be represented in two ways. One is using the double quote. So first of all, what is a string? So anything which is side or anything which is wrapped in between this double quotes actually is a called string. Anything here, anything which is you are writing inside here will be a string, completely a string. And of course, anything which you write it inside the single quotes is also a string. This is also a string. Also, okay. So if you compile this, and that does actually print the last string over here. So in the last video, we have seen this. It's a variables here. So let's write simply here this first string, and let's name it as a first string over here. So I know that that's simply right. First underscore tr first string, and I can name this as second string here, and string equal to. Note that in the first string I have used double quotes, in the second string I have used, so both of them are simply strings, right? So just naming will not help you to print anything. What I can do here is we choose to print first string, check first string, and choose to print the second string, and that's a set. That's also a string, right? Okay. So this gives you flexibility to use the single quotes and double quotes whenever you wanted to print out. Let's say suppose for example, I want to type a sentence like this. Let's say suppose I want to type a message. So this is, let's say suppose I want to write David's. Note that what's happening here is there is an apostrophe here. Remember, I have given a double quotes around it here, so this should not give any error. Okay, so that does prints the apostrophe. Let's say suppose if you don't use the double quotes outside, let me delete the double quotes. Instead, I use the single quotes around the thing here. And now if I do this, and that does gives an invalid symbol. Just because remember by the time actually we run only the Jupyter notebooks is considering only this portion as a string and rest of them is something nonsense. All it does, right? So to use the apostrophe inside a string, then you need to surround it by a double quotes. Surround it by a double quotes. Similarly, if you want to use the double quotes in your inside your string, then you need to use the apostrophe here. For example, sorry, you need to use a symbol quotes here. For example, you use the single quote here, not the this autocomplete. Now I can use my double quotes here, right? If I compile this, the double quotes is printed. So that's the first step. So strings can be actually interpreted, in the strings can be generated in two ways. One is using the double quotes, another one is using. Now, what are the operations was possibly we can do it on string? Very easy operation. What we can do it. In fact, string is first of all a object, right? So the strings has so many methods which are already coming in along with that string in Python. For example, a string can be converted into an upper case. A string can be converted into lower case. A string can be converted into a title case. So we can do that one by one. Let's just suppose let's print the first string in the upper case first of all. Simply just print the first string, and it has a method called uppercase of, right? So if I run this, I it is just simple. Yeah. So if you just write upper on this, so this is making every letter in this is a capital letters. But this actually this is not everything is capital letter here while I define. So when I run this method called upper on this, and it does actually makes it a upper one. If I run lower on this, I run lower on this, and that does makes every letter is a lowercase. You notice T is a capital here in the first string, but here it's, and also you can make every letter as a capital by writing title case. Just title case or title. It should be title. Yes. So title. That just makes every single letter in the uh, Every single word, first letter of every single word is capital letter. So that we can do it. A lot of other things also can be done. Now we also see something called um, concatenation of the same. Means addition of two. What will happen if I add two? Let's say suppose I have a name one David and then name two equal to say suppose Rahul. Now I want to say uh, David and Rahul. What does that mean? This is actually if I write David plus name one plus name two, what's going to give us? Simply, it is just adding two strings or concatenating these two. So this plus symbol, whatever is here, can be operated between strings, and that is will give you this something called concatenated string. Okay. I anyway find out something that it is missing is, let's say suppose I want to say that David and Rahul went to them. So how do I say that? Simple as that. Print name around it. So this will give you David. Now I want to say that and, so it's plus then quotes and plus I can add the plus again, and this one will give you log Rahul, and now I can say the went to the, okay, full stop. So if I do this, and that just gives you this. And of course, if you notice, there is no gap between David and that is because I did not give any gap between them. So concatenation does not add any extra space. So Python is not so clever in that. In other words, Python don't want to take any risk of that. While the space, if we want a space, then what you can do is manually you can add it over here, and as well as in the end of the and, so that it will create a space before and as well as and. So will give you David and Rahul. Of course, there is a space missing before the went, so I can actually add a space over here as well, and that gives you the exactly thing. So you can achieve the same result by something called formatted string. So in the last video itself, in the last moment, we have mentioned this formatted string. What is the formatted string? Formatted string is something that which we can use from I think it's in Python versions, but the way which I am going to write here is I'm going to use it from the Python 3.6 or later. So all the Python 3.6 or later uh, can be used to write something like this. So if I write int, the formatted string is something like if I write f, then a double quotes or single quote doesn't matter. Between the double quotes and single quote, whatever you write, it's going to be appearing here. So, for example, I wanted to write David. Remember that David is stored in the variable called name1. The way I access the name1 is by using a curly braces inside the formatted string. Type the name of the variable and type a space which I wanted and type and. Remember, I'm in the double quotes end, so I can type my strings here and leave a space and type one more curly braces. Type name2 and a space and write when the market. So I hope you are trying to understand what's happening here. It is simply as that of whatever I have written here, but slightly in a modern way. And also it's accommodating my variables in a proper manner instead of writing so many plus over here. So if you notice this, if the sentence becomes longer and longer, and this way of writing makes our life little simpler than this way of writing. So that's where formatted string actually comes into that. I also wanted to put a word for everybody else that the same thing you can do it in the previous version of the Pythons as well, like Python 3.5 or below, by just simply repeating the same process. But this time, what we have to do is let me copy all of them in between this square bracket, quote, double quotes, and then we print them. But this time, what we have to do is we need to take this name one, take this, hollow out, give the curly braces. Over here also, take name two and hollow, keep the curly braces. But after this sentence, whatever you have written, after the code, type a dot and then write a word called format. and inside the format, open parenthesis and curly brace, open parenthesis and close parenthesis, write the placeholder. So this is a placeholder and this is also a placeholder. So I can write it in an order. For example, for this place, I wanted to have name 1. That's the variable. And for the other places, for example, this place, I want to have name 2, like this name 2. So that's going to give us the same output as that of whatever I have here. So this is, let me comment it here. So this is for after Python 3.6 if I'm wrong. This is before Python 3. Before Python 3. So this is a formatted string you might have seen. If you are seeing any old code or something, then you may be actually seeing all this formatted string. I'm just mentioning it because if you even see any other old codes, then you should not be having. You should be having some clue. Otherwise, I think that's all about this video, and I'll see you in the next.